Hello everyone, today we're outside to address a wee bit of a controversy, not a big deal, but I recently noticed on some comments for the Seeker 3 that no one else was getting 15 minutes of flight time. And then I went back and I looked at the video and I included a sample, a flight sample, but I didn't show like the timer at the end of the flight. And I thought it would be an easy one to address by just going back and getting that old flight footage, but I don't keep all the flights. Some of you may know I fly them a lot before I post a video, so I don't keep all my raw flight footage. So I'm going to be doing that today. You can jump to the end to see the results, but we're just going to see, actually what I come up with. I am using the GEP-RC 3000 milliamp battery. It is a 18650 cells Sony VT6, if that means anything, is what they list on the website. They do say that the charging voltage is 4.2 volts, and then the discharge should be at 2.5. So I'm going to aim to land and allow the resting voltage to come back up, after quads and the sag, and try to hit 2.5. You can go lower. I think it also says on the website not to overcharge below 2 volts. So, 2.5 to 2.2 is probably pretty safe on these, but I'm going to target 2.5, but we may go down a little bit further just to see, how it feels when it flies. This is a battery that is heavy and, well, in my opinion, expensive. I think it's about 50 bucks. And it does weigh almost 201 grams according to my scale. So we're just gonna one time it. I'll probably fast forward after we get going, and we'll jump to the end of the footage just to make the viewing a little bit easier. But of course you can jump right to the end if you haven't already to see what the end result is. We'll see if the controversy is well warranted, or if I was just wrong, or maybe I'm close, or something in between. Okay, let's get started. I'm not going to wait for GPS to pop up here. I already had to wait a little bit to get the goggles and everything synced up. Rescue off. Here we go. So this is kind of what we're going to do. I do this in a lot of videos when it comes to flight time testing for those that aren't racing around or aren't really doing freestyle. They're just kind of exploring, or you might even consider it somewhat long-range sort of flight. Maybe faster, maybe slower, depending upon your particular preferences, but this is what I commonly do. It's about 7 o'clock in the evening, and it's pretty nice out. We had a nice long weekend. Hopefully you did as well. Memorial weekend here in the US. Did a lot of work outside here around the pool area, cleaning drains and tending to some maintenance. Worked on some sprinklers. And some of you may think, well, don't address the haters. I don't really consider it haters as a motorcycle goes down the road there. I think it's just something that to be upfront and completely transparent, as they like to say, that we need to clarify. I've made a mistake. I didn't include the ending of the long flight that I did in the original review video. So, proof of concept. We'll see what we get here. Some may ask about doing hover tests. I've never really liked doing hover tests because hovering is kind of boring. I know this flight might be boring to some of you, but hovering is not something I enjoy. So I tend to just fly them around. And I think it gives us a better sense of what to expect in actual flight versus, just kind of hovering around. But I think I'm going to be quiet now. We got a long ways to go. We're already at 3.78 volts per cell on the battery, but this is kind of the style I'm going to be doing until the battery gets super low, and we'll return to regular normal mode as we start to get close to that ending voltage around probably go 242, 244 maybe, and see what sort of time we got. Well, we're at the halfway point now, a little over 7.5 minutes. Halfway to 15 minutes. Who knows how long this flight will actually go. But I thought I would pause there just to kind of announce that time. Still just kind of doing figure eights and exploratory, sort of just flying around the yard. Oh, good night. So as we've gotten here near 11 minutes, I see that I had left my low voltage warning back at my typical for faster sort of freestyle LiPo flying. Amateur hour here. But we're going to live with it just to see what we get. Again, we're going to try to aim to land and let the battery recover a little bit disarmed at 2.5 volts. But as you can see, we've got a ways to go to get to 2.5 volts per cell, and we're at 11 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm fairly confident at this point we can say that 15 minutes, maybe I undershot it. Maybe I was wrong and all the naysayers were right. I undershot it. Wouldn't that be a funny thing? Well, we're well over 15 minutes now, and we're at 3.1718 volts, so I undershot it, looks like, by quite a bit. Hopefully I didn't say that I got 15 minutes on a LiPo of some sort. I don't have really big LiPos. This 3000 milliamp 18650 lithium ion is the biggest battery I have. As far as LiPos for micros go, I think the largest I might have would be 1000 milliamp, but I believe that's 2 or 3S. And then I've got some 930 milliamp hour 4S. But I don't have a lot of big batteries for long flight time, and here we're now over 16 minutes, and we still got a ways to go. Let's go ahead and just keep going. Let's go for our goal. I have felt that my focus has certainly wavered during a number of times in this flight, and I had to kind of snap myself too. I don't know how people actually fly with intense focus for this long a period of time. Maybe it's the land now where I forgot to change my voltage warnings that is putting me into a trance. Nah, I don't really think that is. I tend to lose my focus. When I fly inside, I tend to lose my focus and crash about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Outside, because the margin for error is much better, it can vary quite a bit. But boy, this is a long flight, a super long flight. I no doubt we're going to get 21, 22 minutes at least, maybe even more. Depends on how the voltage holds out on this battery here as we get closer to the end.
Well, I see, I saw 2.4. Whoa, we're getting too low now. I gotta hustle in.
So can the Seeker 3 fly for 15 minutes, as I had in the original thumbnail? Yeah, it can fly for more than that. It did die. The video system cut out right there at the end as we got the voltage way down there. 2.33, I think, was the average cell per voltage that I saw when I was coming in. It might have gotten a touch lower. You know, I was hustling on the flying. But then right as I landed, the video came out. It did restore after resting just a little bit, but that's probably to the extent natively that this will go. You might be able to make, put a voltage regulator or something in there, and that may get you over the hump to fly down to the voltage that you want for this battery. But 21 minutes. Now, granted, I'm not going fast. I'm not going at high elevation, but 21 minutes of flying. I'm not standing still. I'm circling. Unfortunately, the GPS did not pull up any satellites, so we don't necessarily have a speed, but hopefully the flight gave you a sample of how fast it was going. It was slow. That's commonly what I do in flight time videos for those that like to explore, and it simulates those that might be able to do long range, because long range here in the US is a no-go without all sorts of special privileges probably granted to you. So that should address any issues with this flying for 15 minutes. Maybe it was that I wasn't specific enough, or wasn't really strong about my wording as to flying for 15 minutes with this particular battery. But the Seeker 3 is one I do enjoy. I haven't noticed the GPS issue. I haven't flown it probably in 2 weeks or so. But it is one I enjoy. It flies much more aggressively. I'll put some clip up here of my freestyle-ish sort of flight if you are interested. I'll also link the Seeker 3 down below, and the GEP-RC battery. I'll put a link in that down in the video description if you're interested in getting the most flight time you can out of a 4S quad. There may be other batteries that are better, but this is the one I can tell you that I got over 21 minutes of cruisy exploratory flight on a 3-inch quad with GPS and the DJI video system. So those are some proof of concepts. If anyone that might be concerned about me addressing the haters, I really didn't see it as haters. I kind of thought it was something that maybe I just didn't do a very good job of clarifying in my video, or the thumbnail choice of using 15-minute monster for whatever reason. That was what I did. Made it skewed in a way that maybe misrepresented it to some people. So hopefully this brings some clarity to everyone who might have been concerned about that claim, and I undershot it. So if you want to fly for 21 minutes, this combination right here, proof of concept, can do it. Again, I will link the Seeker 3 as well as the GEP-RC battery down in the video description down below if you're interested in those. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise, please let me know in the comment section below. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.